Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again so much for joining me here. Hoping a fantastic day. Happy Tuesday to you. I guess we could also say, happy Bloodbath, happy Red Day. This is kind of interesting. Likely the cause here, though, just keep this in mind, this could be FUD altogether, but Department of Justice is announcing major cryptocurrency enforcement actions today, and it could very well likely be the reason for this dump here, because that was just provided roughly an hour or so ago, and we saw the last hour or two pretty bad. Okay, so again, that might be part of it, but we are maintaining above this volume support right there at that exact level at about 36,500. That's notoriously been a nice little sweet spot for us here. So we may not be in dire straits. It's probably just that initial knee-jerk reaction, and possibly just say there's some positive news later today, then the price could recover. Okay, again, this might be a fundamental catalyst here, okay? So again, if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, hope you learned something here today. We're gonna quickly touch on liquidation levels, okay? So we can kind of see here, we got some new liquidation levels at 35,300. Those are getting more present, if you will, more longs into the market. We can see here as well with some shorts, 37,800 with some low leverage shorts there. And we got some high leverage shorts right here at about 36,900. So definitely an interesting scenario there, to say the least. Take a look here at the whale data. We can see a lot more whales are active today, of course. Definitely the weekday, we can kind of see that pretty clear. We also want to look at some open interest here and kind of see what is going on here and where is the interest lying. So the most amount of open interest right now is pretty much right there at that middle ground there, about 36,400. Not a ton of positions open at about 37,400 within the last 12 hours. We can go back a little bit further and kind of see there probably is a little bit more open interest at about 37,600. And as I mentioned last night in my review, please don't be a late long. It never helps. Breakout traders are low success rate, okay? So please be cautious with that, especially in this market right now. We've been overextended for a while. This pullback makes sense. It's not a dramatic pullback yet, but it is one nonetheless. Again, we got the most amount of volume at about 36,600 in the last roughly 2 or 3 trading days. Okay, this is interesting here. Let's take a look at this guy. In fact, let's zoom in a little bit to the last 12 hours, because that's where we're going to see the most price action here. And we can see in the last 12 hours, there is a lot of shorts hedged at about 37,100. And of course, some longs at about 36,000 even. So we're kind of right smack dab in the middle. We do zoom out a little bit. We can kind of see the last 7 days. There is a large accumulation of volume. We're right there at about 37,900. Boy, they got kind of lucky right there. The shorts at 37,700 did not, of course. They got wiped out. But we got some longs here, likely some late longs entering the market right about 35,850. So some folks are buying the dip here at about 36,500. Okay, so we can kind of see that pretty clear. Take a look here at the charts. Go ahead and start our way up, or work our way down rather. And we can kind of see a few things here. When we talked about this yesterday, the RSI and MACD were still diverging, so we're still kind of coming down here. That hasn't shifted or changed much at all. Our moving averages are still in place. You got to keep in mind we're still maintaining above the 20-day SMA. This is not like a phenomenal support level, but it's definitely an indication of what side of the tracks you're on. Okay. In other words, with us being above the 20 still, we're still in decent shape here. We get a closure above 36,300 today, we'd probably be looking okay. Again, that's tentative. That's based on the macro. That is not a smaller time analysis. It's just kind of a general baseline of the overall sentiment. Okay. Again, that's all the more reason why we can see here that we're not in a fearful market. Okay. Again, we're still fairly greedy, and at this point, obviously at 36,000 plus, we should be in good shape. Taking a look here at the 4 hour though, this is where things do tend to shift for us. Again, 4 hour time frame is my favorite indication of what's happening from small to big. In other words, the intraday stuff turning into macro behavior. The 4 hour gives us good indication that we're testing the 100-day simple moving average, but we're tentatively below the 50 and the 20. Okay, so both of those didn't provide much support at all. The price just drove straight through that. Keep in mind right here at about 34,800, just say round number 38,000. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke, not 38. Round number 35,000. Right there at 35, we could say is the 200-day simple moving average kind of averaging itself out. Okay, so that's good, because if the price does come down that low, we have that extra little bit of support there. 200 is notoriously a strong support in the 4 hour. Take a look at the MACD. We've officially shifted bearish here, and we are below 50 on the RSI. Now, granted, this candlestick has 25 minutes left to close, so it's not technically closed yet, but it's looking pretty obvious that we're looking to close below those levels, which is a bearish sentiment. Okay, And that does imply that we have potential for further downside. Okay, so you got to be mindful that the price action has much more likelihood to continue down than up at this point. We are still establishing higher lows if you look at larger time frames. So we're not in dire straits by any stretch, as I mentioned before, but this could be the shift or the beginning of the end where the price action continues to make lower lows and lower highs after that. Okay, so again, we kind of got to recognize that there is a shift in momentum here. We got this upper liquidity level that was half swept, but we still got a pretty large amount of liquidity, remember, between 34.8 and roughly 35.3. Okay, so that's a significant amount of volatility that could push the price action down there further. Again, when we got these fundamental things going on, I typically recommend not trading, sticking on the sidelines. We did take some healthy profits here from Matic, nice little short there. And a 2-day short here as well. And then what I think our my scalping bots took some nice BNB profits here multiple times. We ripped BNB apart yesterday and the day before. But there's some really cool stuff actually going on there. So again, congrats on that. And I think we took an ARB short on our swing trade here a couple days ago and hit that. Oh, also, friendly advice, if you are using Crypto Cash Premium or Plus and use Coinbase, be sure to use that 50% off an annual plan. They do have that available. That was advertised through the channel, but just heads up, they have a significant discount during Black Friday. It's a good discount. Okay, last but not least, we'll look at the hourly here. And just note there's a small little levels of liquidity on the hourly that have already been swept. And then as far as fair value is concerned, same scenario as well. We got some fair value and liquidity left above the price action right now. That does not imply it's just going to instantly hit that level, but it does tell us that if we sweep back up, those levels should be tested. Taking a look here at the Ichimoku Cloud, full-on confirmation to leave your short open if you have one. In other words, lagging spans free and clear. We've got the conversion line below the baseline. We're well below the cloud. So, 2 hours ago would have been a different story altogether. But right now, 100% bearish at this point. It's amazing how fast things can shift. So again, at this point, when I say 100% bearish, I'm not saying you just take a short at 150x and you're good to go. Okay, please don't do that. If you are to short 5-10x leverage, perhaps at this point, we're still need to wait for confirmation. Just because this indication tells us that you're good to keep your short open, it doesn't imply that it's a good entry for a short. We're still maintaining at support at 36,500 with that volume support, while we have shifted bearish-ish on the 4-hour time frame. It hasn't fully confirmed yet either. There's a few key factors we need to kind of wait on. So try not to get in too early or too hard. It's recommended just kind of wait this one out. Knowing the whales, they're probably lulling everybody into a sense of shorting security there, and then they're going to rip a lot of shorts here in a moment. Okay, that could very well happen. Again, we got tons of liquidity up here that still needs to be swept. I'm not saying the price is going to turn around, but if this is a fundamental catalyst type of scenario here, where the bad news about the Department of Justice comes in and the price drops, and then we end up having good news or neutral news later, the price could very well recover quicker than you might want. Okay, so again, if you have a short open, low position size, low leverage, and obviously make sure you adjust your stop loss as you continue to take profit. Because if you never adjust your stop loss, I don't care if you take only 5% profit in the trade and it turns out to be a 100x trade later, you still took profit, you're still good to go. You got to walk away profitable or you're never going to be successful. Like our signal group, we trade maybe somewhere in between 85 to 90% success rate. And again, if you're not taking profits during those time frames, that's on you. You have to take profits because there's no other way to be successful. Again, you might get lucky a few times by holding on for dear life, but it doesn't really work outside of your HODL bag or your investment portfolio, right? All right, folks. Anyways, enough advice there. Thanks again so much for watching. Hope you learned something here today. Please like the video, comment below if you can. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.